Welcome everyone. Today is Wednesday, June 13th, 2018. So today is a day we're going to take this GreenFire thing and we're going to throw it vertical. The thing today we're going to do is called Going Vertical, Entering ReInhabitory Time. So this is we're going to just become, grab the driver wheel of GreenFire and become star throwers. We're going to throw the stars in this starseed transmission. We're going to do a starseed transmission simply because its time has come. And so we're throwing the driver wheel of the GreenFire of the golden eternity of now into the star thrower sphere. All right, we're going to throw that spear into the sphere, right into the. We're going to set the controls for the heart of the sun. But for this particular biogeodesic dome called planet Mother Earth, what we're going to do is re-inhabit a place right under our feet that we're not aware of. It's simply a shifting of our perception from a geopolitical mind map, which is totally horizontal and controlled by the corporations and the banksters and the politicians and all those people who say we belong to a nation state. All that horizontal stuff, we're going to go throw that out. We're stepping outside, thinking outside the box. We're going to think outside the box. And we're going to go vertical, straight up and down. And that is the shift. This is a radical shift we're being called to make here. And we can do it. It's going to take some time, but we're already doing it. It's in our midst. There is a thinning of the veils going on. If you're finding that things are not as they seem to be, and your biorhythms have been shifted around a little bit, there's something much more going on beyond what we can see with our physical eyes. It's called the thinning of the veils. What it really represents is that humanity is going vertical. And that verticality is a truth that has been waiting for humanity to awaken to for a long time. It's called ReInhabitory time. And we're going to enter ReInhabitory time, and that is, and then moving into what is known as the cosmic human. And that cosmic is not spelled with a C, it is spelled with a K. Much like the ancient Greek cosmos Indo-Plutinos. But this is the cosmos the ancient future has spoken of. And being that we live in the driftless, we're going to reclaim and enter the re-inhabitory time of the driftless. The driftless is an area of northeast Iowa, southwest Wisconsin, southeast Minnesota, and northwest Illinois, kind of the four corners there, of a place that is older than the ice ages. It is a place where the glaciers never went. It's called the driftless because the glaciers never drifted there. So this is older than the ice age. And this re-inhabitory time is a time of reclaiming. We've come to reclaim our land. The land upon which we stand we were never aware of until we had this revelation. This revelation, or this redemption song, called the driftless. So come drift with me as we drift down the meandering river of the great upper Mississippi watershed, and we row our boats gently up the stream, gently down the stream. We row our boats gently. And in that process, we unfold into the awareness of this re-inhabitory time of the driftless called redemption song. What we'll do is, right away we're moving right into the driftless, and that is called a Viroqua event, because the epicenter of the driftless is on the eastern side, or the occidental side the oriental side of the driftless, east of the Mississippi, the epicenter is Viroqua. On the occidental side, which is the western side of the Mississippi, the epicenter is Lansing, Mount Hosmer. Okay? There comes a time when we think outside the box. Way beyond the buck stops here, that's old thinking. That's still thinking inside the box. There comes a time when we think outside the box for our very survival. Not just our own survival, but for the entire planet's survival. Both biodiversity and cultural diversity. We begin by looking at our home as biome, B-I-O-M-E. As biophiliacs, or lovers of life. We begin to embrace that we are biophiliacs, we are lovers of life. As a way of saying Om. This is biome is a biophiliac's way of saying Om. This biome is our planetary home. This biome is our planetary home. Biame, this little blue dot, this blue-green marble water planet, is home, our biodome, our geodesic biodome. And when you give an iota, you care inherently about the biota and about the seventh generations yet to come. Just as our elders, ancestors, cared about us, we are the seventh generation yet to come. We are the seventh generation yet to come of our ancestors, and we don't carry no unholy. We walk on the shoulders of those who came before us. Just a little respect, just a little reverence. We want to give for their ways of daily holding us up, their ways of daily feeding us, their ways of daily clothing us. Fido is a term used in driving. Forget it, drive on. And in this third morning of our awakening, we are beginning to believe it, because we don't carry no unholy. We care for the least of these, just as they are. Sometimes in life, we are the least of these. Sometimes, not all the time. Let us not fall in love with the objects purchased by our daily bread. Let us not fall in love with the objects purchased by our daily bread, for they are temporal and an illusion. And we've come to a time roundabouts here when we have a revival, a camp meeting, a Chautauqua. And this is that time, dear friend, every 100 years or so. It's time to seek, it's time to speak to the carriers of the dream wheel. Let's see what the dream wheel is on our biocompass. Let us see what the dream wheel is on our moral compass. It is the biopsychic field through and upon which we astronavigate our day. It is literally where our field of dreams lay. The carriers of the dream wheel say, the driftless is this biopsychic field. Let us see where the dream wheel is on our biocompass. Let us see where the dream wheel is on our moral compass. It is the biopsychic field through and upon which we astronavigate our day. It is literally where our field of dreams lay. The carriers of the dream wheel say, the driftless is this biopsychic field of this great medicine wheel. This is a higher elevation of our higher union. This biopsychic field charges and activates the field of play and the auras of wonder. as our natural place. As we leave the necrophiliac, the love of death, which is capitalism, and we leave the world of being boxed in the horizontal by thinking inside the box, and we begin our exodus, dear people. We begin our exodus right here, right now. We begin our exodus, our radical shift, our epigenetic shift into the planetary organism of biophilia, our love for life. And love for life only, as we free ourselves outside the box, as we enter the vertical and enter liminal, the once upon a time of great story, great time, great work, great mind. And this timeline of our lives is an evolutionary spiral shift, and it ain't too late to end up on the hate in this eternal etheric summer of love, turning into the planet of the dove. This is the timeline of the unfolding lotus. This is the timeline of the unfolding lotus, because we are now entering ReInhabitory time, right here in the driftless, as we awaken to our exodus. Exodus, that there is no driftless without us. There is no driftless without us. We arrive through bio-entrainment of our minds. As new pioneers in the driftless, as we go vertical and enter our manifest divinity, birthright of ourselves as cosmic humanity, right into the epicenter of our ecocentric thinking of the ecozoic, right here, right now, in the great Mahayana middle way of this great upper Mississippi watershed of born-again hippie, of this great Majamican upper Midwest. This is our simple realignment of our thinking, because we follow our truth and follow our bliss and go vertical. This ain't easy. This ain't easy, my brothers and sisters. This is gradual. This is intrepid treks, going further through process into this higher union of our cosmic humanity and manifest divinity. To activate this divinized light of wonder, we begin our entrance into the ReInhabitory time in the driftless and the algific talus slopes along the driftless and the kettle moraine forests, by sourcing our joy and following it on out to the void. And we source our joy and follow it right on out to the void through this bioregional vision, entering the craton as pioneers, where nature is legislature and there's a new law, land, air, and water. Land, air, and water is the new law. It's a new way of biocentric or ecocentric thinking. And this whole thing is a cultural shift from anthropocentric or the Anthropocene, which is largely regarded as after World War II and the nuclear age. It could have been as early as the Industrial Revolution, but this Anthropocene is seen as the sixth extinction, human-created global warming, and we're moving beyond that, the Anthropocene, into the first human-created evolutionary event called the Ecozoic. We're moving right beyond thinking inside the box, beyond that Anthropocene thinking, into epigenetic thinking, which is the first human-created geologic time of spiraling up of humanity through the evolutionary spiral into the Ecozoic, through this bioregional vision, which is land, air, and water, watersheds, airsheds, and soil, the soul of the earth. And this is the new law, land, air, and water. Because we have gone vertical. We have left the world behind. We are now in once upon a time mind. And that once upon a time is the once upon a time in the here and now. In this be here now, thou art that reality. This is no small thinking. So we're going to return to visit this again, because this has gone into our heads and it'll slowly sink into our hearts. First it goes into our heads, let it settle and compost there for a while. Because we just introduced a whole lot of really important stuff here. Because we are, like I said, we are taking the driver wheel of the GreenFire, of this golden electronic campfire that we're all sitting around here. And we're taking the driver wheel of GreenFire, and we're becoming star throwers. We're setting the controls for the heart of the sun. We're through setting the controls for the heart of the driftless. And the driftless lives right within our very own heart, that we have not been aware of until now. We just have emerged with this redemption song of the language, useful language, to name the nomenclatura, to name the place of our awareness, the place of our from which our exodus emerges into the land in which we enter. This could be called the Jordan. This could be called re-entering the land of the garden from a long exile in Western capitalist thinking. And this exodus is from the Babylon and the exodus of the Pharaoh of Egypt, or exodus of Babylon, of capitalism and necrophiliac thinking into biophiliac thinking. And horizontal thinking has moved away. Manifest destiny is over. Nuclear colonialism is over. Native American colonialism is over. All forms of colonialism are now over, because we're freed ourselves from the necrophiliac thinking of capitalism and thinking inside the box to now thinking outside the box, and capitalism and horizontal thinking, and going vertical to asymmetrical thinking of biophiliac, love for life. Love for life. Love is all there is. Babanam, kevalam. Babanam, kevalam. Love is all there is. Baba babanam, kevalam. Baba babanam, kevalam. Baba babanam, kevalam. Babanam, kevalam. Babanam, kevalam. Love is all there is. 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 Love for life, dear friend. Biophilia. Biophilia. Love for life. Do you feel yet? Do you feel yet? Biophilia? Do you feel yet? When you feel, you have biophilia. Your cilia are out because you have biophilia. Love for life. You embrace it, and it embraces you, and it surrounds you with this love. Love is all there is. Babanam, kevalam. Babanam, kevalam. Baba babanam, kevalam. Baba babanam, kevalam. Baba 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 babanam, kevalam. Baba 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 babanam, kevalam. Babanam, kevalam. Babanam, Kevalam. Love is all there is. So we're composting this right now. And we're going to look at what is in the astrological way of thinking and seeing. This is moving toward the summer solstice. The midsummer night's dreams beguile us after the longest day, entice us to expand and flourish, because we're entering ReInhabitory time for the first time. We're entering, after the Exodus, we're entering into the driftless. It entices us to expand and flourish and bring all we are meant to be out into the sun. This is the season of love made manifest. Prehistoric monuments the world over align with the sunrise at the solstice. Prehistoric monuments the world over align with the sunrise at the summer solstice, ushering in this time of flourishing. Plants and animals and the young of all species run and gambol in the light and warmth. Like flowers, our petals too unfurl as we dance and sing and celebrate the fullness of our creative lives, encourage others to seek theirs. We work to make our dreams of social justice and freedom for all beings manifest through thoughtful, sustained planning and action. This is the peak of the solar year, the apex of growth, flowering and fruiting. After this beacon point, light begins imperceptibly to diminish and slowly give way to longer dark. We will need to give thought to those approaching days. But for now, joy is fiercely tiger-striped as we taste and savor all our abundant blessings. On the first day of her arrival, she learned about waxy yellow buttercups and whiskers painted inside pennyroyal buds. She touched velvet owl feathers and the glossy shine of burnished buckeyes. All of this she memorized and made part of her, and understood for certain that this planet was conceived in love. On the second day, she heard a human voice emerge from coiled pots she had placed in warm sun, and from them came singing. When people emerged from red clay, her body felt like a chorus of joy. On the third day, she lay in the sun, and a town appeared from her body. Crops grew, and the people made their governments from the perfectly balanced shape of her hands, equal on each side. On the fourth day, she gave the people magic fire, incantations and ritual to speak to their ancestors. She gave them rattles and drums to travel through the galaxy so they could understand they are more than skin and bones. On the fifth day, she taught the people love by showing them the constant pouring starlight and how the gray owl goes hungry to feed her babes, how salmon and snow geese always find their way home. On the sixth day, she danced with the tambourine until the people's fingers intertwined and their feet frolicked and music spilled from her body that made people understand the purpose of life. On the seventh day, she lifted her arms to the clouds and gathered rain, bringing wisdom onto the earth in every language. Then stepped onto the moon and settled in to watch, pouring down light so we would never be lost. Ah, a better creation. Donning apricot lavender silks adorned with antique gold moon, the sky unfolds her radiance. Pachamama entreats us to restore her clean waters. Allow the singing of the birds to bring peace to her skies and renew cosmic harmonies on our sacred land. I was a single cell. I divided, multiplied. As a fish, I made bones, teeth. Come closer, the moon whispered. I grew lungs, limbs, marveled to see my footprints in the mud. My legs lengthened, I grew hair. After the dinosaurs disappeared, I was called mitochondrial Eve, my skin dark as the new moon. I was afraid to leave Africa. Who wouldn't be? I was hungry. I migrated to the Middle East, planted figs, olive trees, quenched my thirst with pomegranate seeds, learned the movement of the stars. There were wars. I kept wandering, found the Northlands. It was cold. My skin paled. I sheared sheep, taught myself to knit, covered hands, my ears, our beds. There were wars. By then, I knew how to leave. I crossed a cold gray ocean, unnamed, I think, for Atlanta. Fast on her feet, I heard whales and dolphins calling me. Join us, they sang. Too late, I replied. But if I survive, I'll give birth to a girl who's known gills. Like you, she'll breathe through her blowhole. She's come a great distance. I've carried her all my life. Like me, she'll wear the sea inside. Like you, you wear the sea inside in the salt waters of your very own pulsing blood. So this is the beginning of the shape-shifting of this time. And in my dreams, the people are drumming. The waters are rising, making prayers of their bodies. They are dancing as if swimming under the Mother Moon's spell. And within that perception, this is La Luna. And we understand through love and gratitude mostly. And love and gratitude is, remember Baba Nam, love is all there is. I now know that love is a worthy purpose. Love is a worthy purpose. And you will find, as you look upon your life, the moments that stand out are the moments that you have really lived. And those are the moments when you have done things in a spirit of love. You will find, as you look upon your life, the moments that stand out, the moments when you have really lived, are the moments when you have done things in a spirit of love. From the greatest thing in the world, Henry Drummond. I was lying in bed one day, thinking about my passing, wondering if I'd be conscious enough to talk to my children, what I'd want to leave to them. Famous last words, as it were. The key word is trust. Trust everything that happens in life. Even those experiences that causes pain will serve to better you in the end. And thus that is. Love all the earth, every ray of God's light, every grain of sand or blade of grass, every little living thing. If you love the earth enough, you will know the divine mystery. That's from Dostoevsky, the brothers Karamazov. Love all the earth, every ray of God's light, every grain of sand or blade of grass, every little thing. If you love the earth enough, you will know the divine mystery. Enlightenment comes from looking at the wilderness, the creation with eyes of awe. It is a change in perspective. One could say more about that. Wilderness is not an enemy to be conquered, but a gift to be loved. Art understood enlightenment as a gestalt shift. A gestalt shift. One could call it something else. Gemeinschaft would be some term. A gestalt shift in which the world is viewed differently. What I learned from art is that God, if there is a God, is not an object so much as a relationship, a relatedness, the reconciliation of all things to all things. When I feel reconciled to the divine, I feel awe for the gift of creation. I feel love for my fellow creatures, and I feel peace within myself. This is the gift art shared with us. We are very reasonable creatures, but to feel the grace of the divine, one must forget about reason and go on a pilgrimage to a place where we no longer see as through a glass darkly, to a place where we are able to see the death of a caribou or a chicken with eyes of gratitude, rather than with eyes of conquest. Art has taken us on pilgrimages to that holy place, the Garden of Eden, which resides within our souls, which resides in both sides of the Mississippi in the driftless. Jesus had spent 40 days in the wilderness, St. Anthony a lifetime. But for us, seeing the world from a different perspective had taken about 3 months. It had not been until our second 40 days that we had begun to feel grateful instead of angry. Gratitude came first in the form of appreciation for small favors. Small favors which we now understood to be not so small. The gift of rain, the gift of the sun, the gift of the life of a caribou, which had died for us. With a growing sense of gratitude came a growing sense of love. Love for the creation, love for one another, and love for the grace of God, which made us feel so peaceful. This is from Death on the Barrens by George Grinnell. He and 4 other young men embarked on a 3-month canoe trip in Canada's Barrens led by Art Moffat through territory that was then largely unmapped. They ran out of food, got caught in cold weather, and Moffat drowned when the group inadvertently went over a waterfall. So this is what is very real here when he says enlightenment comes from looking at the wilderness, the creation with eyes of awe. It's a change in perception, much more than perspective. Wilderness is not an enemy to be conquered, but a gift to be loved. And this art understood enlightenment as a gestalt shift, in which the world is viewed differently. Gestalt shift, kind of used in psychiatry, gestalt, kind of an ephemeric term. Not necessarily know exactly what a gestalt is, but it's coming like existential state of being. They used to have these Rorschach, and you're supposed to pick out what that Rorschach looks like, and it could look like a butterfly or something. The psychiatrists use these Rorschach ink blots to determine what psychological state you're in. Okay? So, you know, hey, they got some new terms. But those terms, Gestalt has some resonance to it. Moving on. And this is the Book of Love and Gratitude by the Hair and Dance people. Listen, God love everything you love, and a mess of stuff you don't. Listen, God love everything you love, and a mess of stuff you don't. But more than anything else, God love admiration. I think it pisses God off if you walk by the color purple in a field somewhere and don't notice it. God love admiration. That's from The Color Purple by Alice Walker. And this is beautiful water painting of a water lily, and also one of a purple iris. Listen, God love everything you love, and a mess of stuff you don't. But more than anything else, God love admiration. I think it pisses God off if you walk by the color purple in a field somewhere and don't notice it. So that's a beautiful way of looking at things. You can piss God off if you don't stop and admire the beauty that's right in front of us. It's a spiritual duty to appreciate the beauty every day. And for this radical shift that we're going through, this Gemeinschaft, Gestalt shift, resonance field for sure, not small steps. These are intrepid treks we're taking here. And we're going to revisit what is called entering ReInhabitory time. Going vertical, entering ReInhabitory time. There comes a time when we think outside the box. So we're going to move into the very first part of this, and we'll do a quick Billy here on a piece that's called Think Outside the Box. Then we're going to move much more lovingly into the other part. But just to give a background for thinking inside the box. Think outside the box. Coming around the Riverside curve, the Palace of Dream occurs in front of 528 South Dubuque. There is a tall, leaning tree. It's a magnetic deviation zone, an anomalous phenomena of learning. In the Palace of Dreams, and our scrotum stroker doesn't live here, because he thinks inside the box, always plotting, always scheming, always demanding, never learning, never giving, never forgiving. He sits inside his MBA suite, always calculating, always subdividing the real estate he doesn't even own. He sits there night and day in front of his screen and squeezes out the last demons of his hedge fund, that is his entire foreplay for the day, as he always thinks inside the box, and not a whole lot of people know about him, as he hides behind screens from wake up to drop dead away sleep, counting his profits instead of sheep. And when you come around Riverside Curve into the Palace of Dreams, you don't think about these things. They are horizontal. You begin to learn a new way. You begin to think outside the box. What does this mean? It means you vacate the scene, the horizontal scene of top-down, authoritarian mind, culturally created intentional chaos that keeps the sheep from ever looking up. The same horizontal scene that has as its dogma for the religion of churchianity, of shock jock stockbroker developers, the wrecking ball whoopee crane of creative destruction, of built-in obsolescence of the grim raper called capitalism, in the belly of the beast of the whorehouse called Babylon. And to thus think outside the box is exodus. Exodus from the horizontal plane everyone is staked upon, where telephone poles are crucifixes upon the earth, whose talking wires sputter the offal of Babylon's gutter talk, of Attila the stockbroker, and this hum never lets up in the beta wave capital called empire. Why do they call it enterprise? Because they got you thinking if you enter, you get a prize. Well, what they don't tell you is some Wall Street sucker comes up behind you and double rabbit punches you in the back of the head by surprise. That's your prize, sucker. It's called bankruptcy in good old Babylon, and that's horizontal thinking inside the bucks on the staked plains, in your face, raw baboon Babylon. Capitalism. It ain't got no moral compass, it's just got the demon seed of greed. And no cat in the hat can pull your shit back, Jack, because this shit for brains has a combined ravager as a raper of the commons and all good things and even common sense. Why? Because of people who think inside the bucks. So now, dear friend, let's take a pause right here. Let's breathe deep here. Let's now bring this whole thing to a standstill. Let's begin to look up. Let's begin to go vertical. Let's begin to think outside the bucks. That means the radical thought that a lot of things are free. Let's begin to look at the space between the molecules, the space between objects. This stuff is necessary. This is the right stuff. This stuff don't carry no unholy. This is beyond all dogma, beyond all orthodoxy, beyond all hierarchy, all authority, beyond all states, beyond all institutions. This is vertical, dear friend. This is free. Where we begin to set the terminology, to think outside the bucks. This is not necrophiliac thinking. This is biophiliac thinking. This is love of life thinking, where biocracy is the key to democracy is biocracy. Bioregional thinking is the key in the commons round the riverside curve, where the seventh generation yet to come has a hold on this vision and is dancing it now into this place, which now occurs in this palace of dreams, called the Good Red Road, the road of life, which runs north and south, which is vertical on the medicine wheel of life. And it comes in colors everywhere, in the rainbow hoops of biodiversity and cultural diversity, in red, black, white, and yellow, the hoops of all the nations of humanity. Here, the Time Lords have put the hues, the colors of all races of humanity back into humanity. The Time Lords have put the hue back into humanity. And this asymmetry is all biodiversity and cultural diversity. Through biophilia, the love for life, on this vertical tree, this love for life, there is a flowering of the sixth sun on this new sunrise of humanity. This includes you and me, dear friend, and the magical child inside you and me, which gleefully sings, "We!" as we think outside the box. We restore our humanity. So that is a prelude to this symphony, this Viroqua event, this Chautauqua that we've been waiting for, and the solitude of 100 years of solitude. Entering ReInhabitory time. There comes a time when we think outside the box for our very survival, not just our own survival, but for the entire planet's survival, both biodiversity and cultural diversity. We begin by looking at our home as biome, as biophiliacs, lovers of life. This is a way of saying Om. This biome is our planetary home. This biome is our planetary home. Biame. This little blue dot, this blue-green marble water planet is home, our biodome. And when you see, and when you give an iota, you care inherently about the biota and about the 7th generations yet to come, just as our elders and ancestors cared about us. We are the 7th generation yet to come of our ancestors. And we don't carry no unholy. We walk on the shoulders of those who came before us. Just a little respect, just a little reverence. As we walk on the shoulders of those who came before us, just a little respect, just a little reverence. We want to give for their ways of daily holding us up, their ways of daily feeding us, their ways of daily clothing us, their ways of daily sheltering us. Fido is a term used in driving. Forget it, drive on. And in this 3rd morning of our awakening, we are beginning to believe it, because we don't carry no unholy. We care for the least of these, just as they are. Sometimes in life, we are the least of these. Sometimes, not all the time. Let us not fall in love with the objects purchased by our daily bread. Let us not fall in love with the objects purchased by our daily bread. For they are temporal and an illusion. And we come to a time roundabouts here, and we come to a time roundabouts here, and we come to a time roundabouts here, when we have a revival, a camp meeting, where we gather at the river. Shall we gather at the river, the beautiful river? Shall we gather at the river, that's the of God? And there comes a time when we have a revival, a camp meeting, a Chautauqua. And this is that time, dear friend, after 100 years of solitude. It's time to seek. It's time to speak to the carriers of the dream wheel. Let's see what the dream wheel is. Let's see what the dream wheel is on our biocompass. Let's see what the dream wheel is on our moral compass. It is the biopsychic field through and upon which we astronavigate our day. It is literally where our field of dreams lay. The carriers of the dream wheel say, the driftless is this biopsychic field. Our field of dreams is, the carriers of the dream wheel say, the driftless is this biopsychic field of this great medicine wheel. This is a higher elevation of our higher union. This is a higher elevation of our higher union. This biopsychic field charges and activates a new template. It charges and activates the field of play and the auras of wonder, of delight, as our natural place, as we leave the necrophiliac thinking of capitalism, love of death, and we leave the world of being boxed in the horizontal by thinking inside the box, and we leave it as we begin our exodus, our radical shift, our epigenetic shift into the planetary organism of biophilia, our love for life only. And we free ourselves through this outside the box thinking as we enter the vertical and enter the liminal, the once upon a time timeline of our lives, where we begin to live great story, do great work, and work in great mind. Great story, great work, and live in great time. This is ReInhabitory time. This vertical timeline of our lives is an evolutionary spiral shift, and it ain't too late to end up on the hate in this eternal etheric summer of love, turning and turning and turning and turning, turning and turning and turning into the planet of the dove. This is the timeline of the unfolding lotus. This is the timeline of the unfolding lotus, because we are now entering ReInhabitory time, right here in the driftless, as we awaken in our exodus that there is no driftless without us. We arrive through bio-entrainment of our minds as new pioneers in the driftless, as we go vertical and enter our manifest divinity, the birthright of ourselves as cosmic humanity, right into the epicenter of our ecocenter thinking of the ecozoic. Right here, right now, Tat Vam Asi. Right here, right now, Tat Vam Asi. Tat Vam Asi. Thou art that. Thou art that. Thou art that. In the great Mahayana middle way of this great upper Mississippi born-again hippie, of this great Madhyamikan upper Midwest, this is our simple realignment of our thinking as we both follow our truth and follow our bliss in this unfolding lotus. And we go vertical. This ain't easy, my brother. This ain't easy. This is gradual. This is intrepid treks going further through process into this higher union of our cosmic humanity and manifest divinity, to activate this template, this divinized light of wonder, this mandala throughout the entire craton of the upper Midwest of this mandorla, of this Kala chakra wheel. And this manifest destiny we activate through divinized light of wonder and play and delight. We simply begin our entrance into ReInhabitory time in the driftless, and the algific tailless slopes begin to have a scent, a fragrance of the cedar on the north side of the tree, of the cedar tree. And the kettle moraine forests, they are sourcing our joy way down in the crystal springs, way down deep. Through this bioregional vision, we are entering the craton in the driftless as pioneers, where nature's legislature, and the Bioregional Congress is held every 2 years, where nature's legislature, and we have a council of all beings. And there's a new law, land, air, and water. And this new law is biocentric. It's beyond the Anthropocene and beyond the sixth extinction. It's the beginning of the flowering of the sixth sun, which will be unfolding right into our hearts during the summer solstice on June 20th and beyond, beyond. And this is the light that is touching us from the carriers of the dream wheel, whose spokes are, we are spokespersons for the carriers of the dream wheel. Each one of us can be and is a spokesperson for the carriers of the dream wheel. When we put on our biocentric, bioregional vision mind and align ourselves with the ReInhabitory time of the driftless and the bioregional vision. So there comes a time when we think outside the box for our very survival. Not just our own survival, but for the entire planet's survival. Both biodiversity and cultural diversity. We begin by looking at our home as biome. A biophiliac's a lover of life's way of saying Om. This biome is our planetary home, our geodesic biome, our geodesic biodome. Biame, this little blue dot, this blue-green marble water planet is home, our biodome. And when you give an iota, you care inherently about the biota and about the seventh generation yet to come, just as our elders and ancestors cared about us. We are the seventh generation yet to come of our ancestors, and we don't carry no one holy. We walk on the shoulders of those who came before us. Just a little respect, just a little reverence. We want to give for their ways of daily holding us up, their ways of daily feeding us and clothing us and sheltering us. These are very important sacrifices they gave for us. And in the third morning of our awakening, we are beginning to believe it, because we don't carry no one holy. We care about the least of these just as they are. Sometimes in life, not all the time, we are the least of these. Sometimes, and not all the time we are, but sometimes. Let us not fall in love with the objects purchased by our daily bread, for they are temporal and an illusion. And we come to a time roundabouts here when we have a revival, a camp meeting, a Chautauqua, and this is that time, dear friend. It's time to seek, it's time to speak to the carriers of the dream wheel. Let's see what the dream wheel is on our bio-compass and our moral compass. It is the biopsychic field through and upon which we astronavigate our day. It is literally where our field of dreams lay. The carriers of the dream wheel say, the driftless is this biopsychic field of this great medicine wheel. This is a higher elevation of our higher union. This biopsychic field charges and activates the field of play and the auras of wonder as our natural place as we leave the necrophiliac, love of death, capitalism world of being boxed in the horizontal by thinking inside the box, and we begin our exodus, our radical shift, our epigenetic shift into the planetary organism of biophilia, our love for life, and love for life only, as we free ourselves outside the box, as we enter the vertical and enter the liminal, the once upon a time timeline of our lives, which is an evolutionary spiral, and it ain't too late to end up on the hate street in this summer of love, turning and turning and turning and turning into the planet of the dove. This is the timeline of the unfolding lotus. And may the lotus unfold in your heart, dear friends, as we move toward the summer solstice. May blessings be all around you, and peace and love and light. Peace.